see it.
Oh yeah, we got a phone. Hello. I muted the phone because I heard a bunch of road noise. Who's 801?
Probably some road sex going on.
It's a Utah number.
Lynette just jumped on, but I've turned to mute it because I have my windows down and I can't roll them up.
Oh, hey, Lynette. Great to see you. Great to hear you.
Thanks.
Awesome. All right, well, we're going to get started. Cool. So, radical honesty, part 2 is what we're going to cover for the first part of the call, and then we'll just deep dive into whatever you guys want to explore. But when we talk about radical honesty, part of who has had trouble balancing speaking with radical honesty and speaking in love, or speaking with radical honesty and like not doing blame talk and all that shit. Like, who can relate to this? Like, getting stuck in like, oh, this is so unconscious, but okay, I know I can. So I'm going to be covering some really specific stuff around that today. Getting really deep diving into communication, powerfully communicating, standing in your power, setting up boundaries, communicating what's going on for you, while at the same time creating a safe, epic place for your partner, for whoever you might be talking to, all that good shit. So the first half of the call, we're going to be covering that stuff. And the second half of the call, we're going to just open it up. And one thing I want to keep in mind, as we're going through this, if you can think of a scenario where you would like to communicate something in a radically honest way, but you're not sure like how to do it, you're not sure like specifically what, like if you feel stuck and there's something going on in a relationship, or there's something going on with someone and you're like, man, I'm feeling all this, but I'm not sure how to do it, I'm not sure how to go there, keep that situation in mind through this call, and maybe take notes as this call relates to that situation, because this call could be really powerful. And by the end of this call, I'm hoping you're equipped to go into any scenario, be it with an employee, be it with a lover, be it with a best friend, or even someone that like maybe there's been a falling out and you want to restore the relationship type of thing. You will feel equipped to have the skills to start practicing to go in and have that powerful conversation. So, because what can happen with radical honesty is there's kind of 3 stages of handling emotions and being honest, and they really relate with the drama triangle. So the first stage is I'm responsible for, and this might be hard to read, but we're recording it. So this says I'm responsible for other people's feelings. I'm responsible for other people's emotions. And so with this, be it you're a parent, be it, you know, you're married or whatever, when someone feels certain emotions, you tend to think, okay, I'm responsible. They're upset, they're angry, they're sad, they're afraid. I'm responsible for that because what I did made that happen. And so you take on this burden of I'm responsible for, and it like gets really fucking heavy, especially in intimate relationships as time progresses and time goes on and on and on. So a lot of people camp out here responsible for, and then they move to this position of victim, where it's more of like, this is happening to me. They're doing this to me. They're too weak. They're too sensitive. They're too this. They're too that. They're too lazy. Whatever the story might be, it's very much just like victim position of like, this is happening to me, which then over time that goes into fuck you, I'm not responsible for your shit, which is the villain. So the dance is kind of hero, victim, villain. A lot of people confuse fuck you, I'm not responsible for your shit with radical honesty. Radical honesty, there's like a whole movement based upon radical honesty. It's run by Brad Layton. He wrote a book. Highly recommend the book. It's a great book. And in my opinion, on the scope of balance, it's like way over here, and it's really easy to get radically honest and be dancing on villain all day long and be in this fuck you, I'm not responsible for this, these are my boundaries, this is what's going on, I fucking hate you right now, and it's just, and we can get super trapped into this energy. Now, this is a stage, like this is, in a way, an advancement of levels. It is in a way like, okay, responsible for is worse than victim two. Victim two is worse than, fuck you, I'm not responsible. I'd rather see someone in fuck you energy than in I'm responsible for energy. So it is kind of these stages of levels. But guys, real radical honesty is not in the drama triangle at all. Because the truth isn't in the triangle. Radical honesty is out here. And out here is the place where you are taking full responsibility for your intentions and your actions. So a place of full radical honesty, telling the full truth, is when you have the skill sets developed where you can communicate in such a way that takes full responsibility for your intentions and your actions. So awesome, Amanda. So I'll give you the tools. So our goal isn't to sit and say, okay, and I'm not saying anyone is doing this, but it's really easy to sit and say, okay, this fuck you villain, this villain energy is radical honesty. It's really easy to stay in here and just be like, hey, it's radical honesty. This is a good thing. But the point of radical honesty with yourself is for you to see where you're at. And the point of radical honesty when you're communicating is, even if you're in drama, when you're being radically honest, when you see and you identify these drama stuff happening, that identification helps you shift into the truth where you are back into power and you're not subject to all the shit that the drama brings in life. So that's really what our goal is here. So at the end of the day, guys, relationships are critical. We're social beings. Like it's super critical for us to have intimate, deep, close, connected relationships where we are honest with each other, where we're authentic with each other, where we have this exchange of meaning. There's a definition of, I think it's a definition of dialogue, where they define it as an exchange of meaning between two people. So relationships are critical. We're social beings. Win-win is critical. If it's not a win-win relationship, if there's not co-creation going on, it's an entanglement. So co-creation is the essence of how you create win-win. When you co-create, when two people or a group of people are creating something and they're co-creating, then that's win-win. So for co-creation to happen, there has to be a safe place. There has to be a place where there's compassion. There has to be a place where there's understanding without judgment. So what happens is often if we just carry radical honesty, the value of radical honesty, and we step into this fuck you energy, then we actually damage co-creation. We actually damage the safety of the container. So how can we be fucking radically honest and express what the hell is going on in us on a deep level that's authentic and real and communicating what we're experiencing, and still keep that safe place where the other person still feels deeply connected, where the other person wants to open themselves up, wants to exchange meaning with us, wants to co-create with us. So that's really the deeper question that we're covering here. What's up, Justin? And so part of co-creation is really the process of requesting something that enriches life, that enriches expansion. And part of co-creation is even this understanding of, like, there's this cool quote that I like that's, Lord, help me forgive those who sin differently than me. So with that type of attitude, let's talk about this pool of meaning. So dialogue is this exchange of meaning between two people. So this right here, I don't know if you can see it, but this right here is a pool. And the truth is, each of you has your own opinions, you have your own feelings, you have your own theories, you have your own experiences, and they're fucking different than mine. They're different than, each of us brings something completely different to the table. And so what happens when you open up this pool of meaning it's basically this process where it's a safe place for people to contribute their opinions, their feelings, their thoughts, their theories, their experiences to the pool where everyone can learn from the pool of meaning. There's safety for people to add their perspective to the pool. There's a free flow of meaning between two people. And what happens in relationships and what happens in friendships or any type of communication with different people is often someone will withhold their meaning from the pool. And when someone withholds their meaning, the pool gets super shallow. When someone contributes their meaning, a deeper pool raises the IQ of everyone involved in the conversation. You learn more. You have new perspectives. You have new understandings. So you can create better things. And what's even more important, when the pool of meaning raises, when more people contribute, when both people are contributing, if it's a one-on-one conversation to the pool of meaning, then both people are invested in the outcome. If there's something that is created from that shared pool of meaning, both people are invested in the outcome, which is completely different than one person filling the pool and then the other person just saying, okay. Because there's no ownership. So it's important that the shared pool of meaning, there's an investment and a contribution from everyone, because then that pool is shared, and then the outcome, whatever results from the conversation, from sharing the different meanings, whatever results, everyone is invested in the outcome and seeing the outcome come to pass. So everyone is creating, in other words. So ways that people withhold from the pool of meaning is silent criticism, passive resistance, discrediting or attacking, but the biggest way is they just don't contribute. And so here's the thing, guys. It's important for us to share our opinions, feelings, theories, and experiences. That's radical honesty. It's important for us to be radically honest. It's important for us to stand in the truth of what we're experiencing moment by moment. It's important for us to be in integrity. That shares our pool. That contributes to the pool of meaning. But if you're not getting other people to contribute to the pool of meaning, then you will not increase your connection, your intimacy. You will not increase your social. You won't increase your social awareness. You won't have those epic relationships. So there's two things. We want to share us and contribute that to the pool of meaning, but we also want to hear other people's contribution. If they're withholding, then there's not an invested interest in whatever the outcome of the conversation will be. So any questions so far? I'm moving pretty quick. I've covered a lot already. This is probably going to be something that you're going to want to come back and watch again. But any questions so far about, the stages of emotional bondage, if you will? I'm responsible for your feelings. I'm a victim to your feelings. Fuck you. I'm not responsible for your feelings. None of that's radical honesty. Radical honesty is I am responsible for me. I'm responsible for what I'm experiencing. I'm responsible for my intentions and my actions. That's radical honesty. Yes, I will take a photo of the board. For sure. Cool. So what I was saying is a lot of times people confuse radical honesty with this villain piece of, fuck you, I'm not responsible for. And full radical honesty is getting free off the drama completely. And then I talked about the importance of having a shared pool of meaning where everyone's contributing. Everyone in the conversation is contributing to the pool. And how once everyone is contributing, everyone walks away with a deeper understanding, a deeper connection, a deeper love, intimacy, deeper empathy, and with the result that everyone is invested in. Everyone wants to move forward because they contributed. The pool is shared. So the outcome of that conversation is a share. Everyone's invested in it. It's not one person saying this is the way it needs to be, and one person either feeling controlled or manipulated by that. So guys, with me so far? Because now we're going to step into 4 stages or 4 practical steps. Okay, when the rubber hits the road, how the fuck do we be radically honest and create that shared pool of meaning? How do we communicate the hard things? How do we walk this out super practically where we are taking full responsibility and we're here, not on the drama triangle? So step one, there's a couple things in tension. Facts versus perceptions. So step one is facts versus perceptions. So the difference between facts and perceptions is facts are specific to they're specific to a period of time. They're specific to a context. They're observable. They can be third party. If Brandon, if you and I see the same thing and we talk purely in terms of facts, we're going to have the same explanation of what went down. It's kind of like a third party. It's like a third party observer. So facts are specific in time. They're specific in context. They're observable. They're third party. Perception is value judgments. When value judgments are made, people are apt to remove themselves from the pool of meaning and stop feeling like the conversation is a safe place. So signs of perceptions are absolute terms or vague terms, such as you always do this, or you normally do that, or you are a poor basketball player, or you are a bad husband, or you are a good husband, or you never are here on time. These are all value perceptions. They're value judgments. So we want to focus on facts and not perceptions. So digging into this a little bit, let's do some exercises. I have some sentences that I have that I'm going to say, and then you guys let me know if you feel like this is communication that is based in facts or based in value judgments or evaluating. Is this pure observation or is this evaluation? So let's try this sentence. You guys ready to play? I can see like 2 of you. Everyone else has their screen off. All right. Oh, awesome. All right. So
I had to go to the bathroom. I don't think he wanted me to take you with, like, sharing my video. So wait, was that radical honesty?
I love it. It's perfect. Awesome. Okay. So let's try this sentence. Brandon was angry with me yesterday for no reason. Is this a fact or perception?
Perception.
Awesome. Does anyone think this is a fact? So an example of a fact with this would be Brandon pounded his fist on his computer.
That's your perception. I was lightly touching it.
Or Brandon told me he was angry.
That's hearsay.
So let's try this. Yesterday evening, Gail bit her fingernails while watching television. Fact or perception?
Fact.
No. Everyone can unmute for these if you want. Sam didn't ask for my opinion during the meeting.
That's a
opinion.
fact.
Because what if I said it in a joking tone?
My son often doesn't brush his teeth.
Opinion.
That's a perception.
Some people think once a year is enough, and other people think twice a day.
Love it. Yep. Perfect. So do you guys kind of get this idea of facts versus perceptions? The difference between making perception and value judgments when you're communicating and communicating explicitly in detail and in context what happened.
Holy crap! Holy crap!
Awesome. So any other questions with this section? Do you guys want to do a couple more practice ones, or do we want to move on?
I think I'm good, although my mind's kind of blown right now.
Okay. Let's try this last one. My aunt complains when I talk to her.
It's an opinion or a perception.
Complaining is a value perception. It's making a value judgment. So how could you say my aunt complains when I talk to her? What would be the facts? The facts could be my
Do you
aunt.
say I feel?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
So it could be my aunt told me that her daughter was being mean to her all week. That's a fact. If, assuming that's what's her complaining. So you see the difference between specific facts that are detailed and in context versus perceptions, which are these value judgments. Whenever you bring perceptions to the table, you start cutting off the chance that there's a pool of meaning, that there's a pool of dialogue. Because people will automatically get defensive. They'll start being like, what? Wait, your perception's not right. And then there's an argument about the perception. Awesome. All right, let's move. Any questions with this one before we move to the next step?
I find that I get triggered by other people's perceptions.
Yeah.
Because I get to have a conversation actually tonight after this is over. And I'm already triggered as all get out.
Well, we'll check in a little while once we cover the other three and see where you're at.
Okay, great.
Awesome. Cool. So the next one is true feelings versus thoughts. True feelings versus thoughts. So let's take this statement. I feel like you are ignoring me. Is that a true feeling?
No.
Yeah, exactly. Ignoring is a thought. Thoughts are how we think about us or others. It's our interpretation. So often we'll say, I feel, followed with, I feel that I am a loser, or I feel that you are ignoring me, or I feel that they are being mean, or I feel that it is wrong. None of those are feelings. Those are all just our thoughts hiding behind the word feel. So it's super powerful when we start talking in terms of true feelings instead of talking in terms of thoughts. So true feelings are real and they're specific. So we know the basic core feelings: sadness, anger, happiness, joy, and fear. But when we're thinking about our feelings, we really there's a whole list, and I can provide a list of words, but there's a whole list of words that can be used to describe our feelings outside of those 5 core feelings. So it's way more powerful to say, I'm feeling sad or I'm feeling happy than saying, hey, I'm feeling like you're not listening to me. Like, I'm feeling like you're not listening to me that's gonna it's basically a judgment. It's perception masked with the word feeling, and it's gonna cause whoever you're dialoguing with to remove themselves or withhold. It's gonna invite the person to withhold their information from the pool of meaning, which is counter to what you actually want to accomplish in the conversation. So I can provide, there's lots of lists of words around feelings, but there's glad, there's grateful, there's embarrassed, there's lonely, there's mad, there's tons of different words. But the thing is to really, even if you're not sure what words to use, be thinking in terms of sadness, anger, happiness, joy, and fear, or sexual, when you're talking about your feelings, and really watch, because it's very easy to say things like, I'm feeling like you are. I'm feeling like you are. So part of the way you can catch it is if you're following your feeling statements with you. If you're following your feeling statements with I'm feeling like I am. I'm feeling like you are. I'm feeling like they are. Be really conscious, because generally a feeling statement is just like, I'm feeling the feeling. Whatever that feeling might be, that's where it goes. So if it's like, oh, I'm feeling like you are being mean to me, it's just a sly way to basically bring this perception back to the table and bring stories back in. So let's do some exercises around this one. I feel like you don't love me. Is this speaking in terms of true feelings, or is this speaking in terms of thoughts?
Thoughts.
Yeah.
You don't love me.
I'm sad that you're leaving.
Feeling.
I feel scared when you say that.
Feeling.
Feelings.
When you don't greet me, I feel neglected.
Thoughts.
Feelings. Oh wait, no, when you.
Yeah, neglected is
Got
like,
me there.
what's the feeling? Yeah. So maybe when you don't greet me, I feel lonely. But yeah. Stu, I feel good about what you did for me. It's a tricky one. I would say, and this is just my opinion, but I would say I feel good about what you did for me. I would say it is talking about a feeling, but good is very general. So what is it? Good feeling is very, it could go either way. And it's also you, right? So it could go either way, but this is the importance of, like, with your true feelings, get as specific as possible. Good, bad is value judgments. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling love. I'm feeling connected. I'm feeling cool. Let's do one more. I'm worthless.
Perception. Or thought.
Thought, yeah.
Says I feel sad, or I feel lonely, or whatever. So let's do one more actually. I feel misunderstood.
Thought.
Crap!
I don't like that one.
I don't either!
Wait, hold on. I'm downloading. I'm going to go with thought, because misunderstood, that's some bullshit. You know, you can't feel misunderstood.
Brandon?
So I feel discouraged. I feel frustrated. What's underneath the misunderstanding is a deeper feeling.
And the misunderstood would have to become from someone else's doing. So I see what you're. Yeah, fuck.
Right? Right? Eliza?
That's right.
I feel like I use that one a lot.
Dang it.
I'm so misunderstood.
That's a thought.
I feel like I use that one a lot.
Yeah, that's a
I
thought.
already was on it, Jonathan, okay? Now you've got me like everything's coming out of my mouth. I was like, God, he's gonna call me out. Shh.
You guys got to start getting honest with yourselves.
I fully encourage, this is a completely safe place for us to fuck up all this shit as much as possible. This is totally a process and it's a journey. And when you master this shit, everyone will fucking love you. And you will be at so much peace, because when our words control, to a degree, our words and our feelings are linked together. And when we can speak truth, then we are truth. So it's just super powerful. I don't have this shit down. I don't have this shit down at all. And when I walk this out, it's fucking powerful. So awesome. Any questions about true feelings versus thoughts?
I feel like I'm gonna have to watch this over again.
Yeah.
And it's gonna take a lot of practice.
Oh yeah.
It's a skill development.
Okay.
And
That's all.
it does make sense, and I'll create a document that'll help out. The main thing is just like in terms of feelings, just like asking yourself, is that actually a feeling or is that a judgment that I'm saying feeling in front of? So even if you bring it back to the core, sadness, anger, happy, joy, fear, sex, that can help. Probably the biggest thing that helps me with it is am I saying I feel you, or am I saying I feel I? If I'm saying something along those lines, it's a good awareness that is probably a thought. Cool. So you guys ready to move to number 3? All right, number 3. 100% responsibility versus drama. We kind of talked about this a bit already, but there's an important distinction between the stimulus being the cause. So someone could have stimulated certain elements, but that doesn't mean they cause certain elements, because you are choosing consciously or unconsciously to feel whatever you're feeling, to be thinking whatever you're thinking. And often, if it's a constrictive thing, then it's really rooted in an unloved, unmet place. Just own that you were turned on, Brandon. Brandon, how are you feeling? I'm kidding. So going back to responsibility, a great way to stay in a place of responsibility, 100% responsibility, is to use this little formula. I feel because I feel blank, 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 because I blank, 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 blank. So I'm feeling sad because so that's bringing the responsibility, like the because I at the end brings the responsibility back to what's going on with you. And when you talk about you, then you're contributing your stuff to the pool. You're being radically honest. When you're talking about them, I'm feeling sad because you. It's like, whoop. Doesn't work. So speaking in terms of 100% responsibility often is like, I'm feeling or I feel because I wanted this, or because I believed this, or because I expected this, or because, but it brings it back to you. So that's the 100% responsibility side. The drama side is really this up here, where you villainize yourself or you villainize them, you victimize yourself and defend your right to be a victim. Like, every argument is a fight for the victim square at the end of the day. Or you hero, and the hero move is really you remove yourself from the pool to play it safe. You stop being radically honest. You stop being authentic. And you basically take your ball and go home, and you shut up and you just let them do their thing. And then you're like, oh, okay. And you might pretend everything's okay, but really it's not. So there's you villainize, fuck you, you victimize. It's like, you did this, you did that. I'm such, you hurt me so bad. Or you hero, and you just kind of like stop the flow of meaning, stop your experience, stop your radical honesty, and stop yourself from contributing, and just kind of shut up, withhold information, withhold what's going on for you, take your ball and go home. So we don't want the drama. We want the 100% responsibility. because that's where this happens. So speaking in terms of 100% responsibility, I feel because I, let's do any questions so far about 100% responsibility. We can go through some examples.
I feel good, but I actually am not opposed to you going through examples if you want to.
Yeah, we'll go through some before we hit them.
Okay.
Here's an example of the feel. I feel because I. So, so here's an example of like a really not like more of a drama triangle piece. When you don't call me on my birthday, I feel hurt. Or mommy is disappointed when you don't finish your food. So can you hear the drama in those? So the difference would be mommy feels disappointed when you don't finish your food because I want you to grow up strong and healthy. That because I piece brought it back into your responsibility. Instead of it being a blame statement, you're taking full responsibility for what you're feeling and you're linking it to your values and your desires. I feel hurt because you said you don't love me. I feel hurt because I really wanted to feel your love tonight. Two completely different statements. One is this attack, which can cause, it's not conducive to the pool of meaning, and one is full responsibility and radical honesty. Because go ahead.
So when you said, like, what was it? Like, I feel hurt because I wanted to feel your love tonight. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I made it up, so I don't know exactly. Yeah.
That sounds super passive aggressive to me. Like, and I don't know if passive aggressive is like the right,
Yeah, I just made that one up on the spot. Like the deeper point here is if you remember I feel because I, then
I feel because okay.
Like I feel whatever's going on. So state your feelings, and then because I is really like you are standing in whatever story and whatever feeling or thought or value or desire that you were expecting that wasn't happening. So I feel angry that the supervisor broke her promise because I was counting on getting that long weekend to visit my brother.
I have a question about that too, Jonathan, because the first time you said, you go into the drama triangle when you say, I felt sad because you didn't say you loved me. And then the second one, I don't remember what the second one was that you said, but can you say then, like, when this happened, I felt sad when you didn't respond, or, I don't know if you're saying when this event happened, I felt sad. Is that still drama?
Great question. Language is a confusing and tricky thing. And that's one reason why this is can be so holy shit, what's going on? The first important piece is, are you taking 100% responsibility for how you are feeling and your thoughts attached to that feeling? Or are you blaming what is going on within you, the thoughts and the feelings? Are you blaming that on someone else? So I feel hurt because that helps because I piece helps bring it back to you and helps you take ownership and reminds you that this is my story. I'm taking 100% responsibility for my experience versus I feel hurt because that's blame. That's saying you're responsible for the pain that I'm feeling. So if we could dance the words all we want, but the key is the heart place, or the mindset place of realizing that everything we think and we feel is our conscious or subconscious choice. It has nothing to do, like, it's our reaction, but we're choosing to have that reaction. And they're not the one responsible. We're the one responsible for that. Is that helpful? So if we really shift in that mindset, there's different ways that we can word things that can help us remember. But like, if it's just formula and automatic, like, our perception and mindset around it comes before. Like, if you do the formula and the perception, heart, and mindset isn't around it, then the formula is jack shit. It doesn't mean anything. Because people can smell bullshit from like, have you guys ever like talked to a sales guy and he's reading off of a script? It's just like, stop.
I talked to a sales guy and he was reading off a script and he wasn't even trying to sell me anything. He was just asking me a question around some tips. He's like, "Hey, Brandon, I was just wondering."
Yeah, and it's just like, so inauthenticity, like, it removes from the pool of meaning as well. So the deeper thing here is really, are you taking 100% responsibility because for whatever you're feeling, for whatever you're thinking, because that reveals the unloved places in you that are still existent. That reveals the deeper stuff within you. That's like amazing feedback. And the way that we can step into that is really these tools of this idea of like, okay, we're taking 100% responsibility. We're not going to be in drama. We're not going to say, I'm going to remove my toy and go home. We're not going to say, fuck you, this is your fault. We're not going to be a victim. We're going to be like, yes, this is my experience. I'm feeling this because I expected, or because I believed, or because I thought, or because I desired, or because I valued, which is a lot different than I'm feeling sad because you did this, or because you thought this, or because you said this, or because you whatever. Is that helpful, Eliza? Cool. So let's jump to some examples, and maybe it'll become even more clear with these examples. You irritate me when
Could
you.
be something like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Examples.
Could it be what?
Well, I was just thinking with that one, like, it would be kind of like, I felt sad when you didn't say you love me because no, wait, that wasn't what I was going to say. God damn it. I felt sad because I noticed I wanted to feel, or I wanted this, or I wanted that, right? So that's bringing it back to you. I feel sad because I noticed. Okay, I think I'm starting to wrap my brain around it. Go ahead with your example.
I felt sad because I connect my self-worth to your words of affirmation.
Oh, but sometimes it just feels so good.
Let's play this game. So you irritate me when you leave company documents on the conference room floor. Drama or 100% responsibility?
Drama.
So an alternative could be, I'm irritated when you leave company documents on the conference room floor, which is a fact. So it's different than perception, because I want our documents to be safely stored and accessible.
I don't get how that's not like blame, or because they're doing something that's making you irritated.
So we're still talking about being radically honest, but you're taking responsibility for what you're feeling, and you're saying why you're feeling what you're feeling, because of the values that you have, or the desires that you have, or the expectations that you have, or. the meaning that you've attached to it.
Okay.
So I feel angry when you say that because I am wanting respect and I hear your words as an insult.
What now?
I feel angry when you say that because I am wanting respect and I hear your words as an insult.
That's responsibility.
You know, I feel frustrated when you come late.
That sounds like drama to me.
Yep. So more responsibility would be I feel frustrated when you come late because I was hoping we would be able to get some front row seats. So speaking consciously doesn't mean you don't speak the truth. It doesn't mean you don't be radically honest. It just means you take responsibility around your own desires, your own expectations, your own values. Do you guys want a few more of these, or do you want to move on to the next one?
No, actually, a few more.
Okay. I'm sad that you won't be coming for dinner because I was hoping we could spend the evening together.
Responsibility.
Sounds good.
Awesome. I feel disappointed because you said you would do it and you didn't.
Drama.
So then another way to say that would be, when you said you do it and then didn't, I feel disappointed because I wanted to be able to rely upon your words.
Responsibility.
Yeah. Let's do a couple more. Little things people say sometimes hurt me.
Drama.
Huh.
The
Yeah.
victim.
A responsibility version would be sometimes when people say little things, I feel hurt because I want to be appreciated and not criticized.
That's like my Facebook post. I'm quitting Facebook because people are saying mean things.
I feel scared when you raise your voice, or when you raised your voice.
That feels like
I'm gonna
taking
go
responsibility.
with drama.
But
I
then
want to hit with
what's
drama.
the you part in it?
I think it's a sneaky response, like trying to sneak into responsibility, but actually you're actually trying to get in on the victim position.
Say it again.
When you raise your voice, I feel scared because I'm telling myself someone might get hurt.
That's responsibility.
Yeah. One more.
There's going to be like 5-minute gaps between my sentences now.
I know!
What I have to say.
No!
So the information gap isn't helpful. The main thing is the value of 100% responsibility and remembering I feel because I. It doesn't even have to be the same sentence. Think about explaining what is driving the feelings that you're feeling. I'm feeling sad because I'm feeling angry because I. If you can think in this stage, if you can think in terms of me, I, instead of you, it'll just help you stay in 100% responsibility.
I'm feeling sad because I noticed that you didn't use because I in your statement. Because I learned this training by Jonathan.
I heard you say you.
Awesome.
If y'all start calling me out in my posts and my language, like, I'm gonna totally jump on the drama triangle and be like, "Fuck you guys!"
We've been warned.
You've been warned.
I'm going to be policing all of you on all of your public Facebook statuses.
I'm not going
Brandon,
to
I
be.
believe that.
I'm blocking you, Brandon.
Welcome to the club.
I'll throw this out there. There's not a right or wrong way to do this. It's not bad if you do perception. It's not bad if you do thoughts. It's not bad if you do drama. Just you'll get more drama. If you want more drama, keep doing it. I'm not making a value judgment. This isn't like a measuring stick of like, hey, you better do this perfectly. This isn't another should gap. This is just like, okay, if we're moving towards radical honesty, if we're moving towards expansion, if we're moving towards a life that we fucking love and relationships that go fucking deep, then these are some skills and some awareness tools that'll help us move towards that. And it's just like riding a bicycle. Like we get on the bike, maybe we just tackle one at a time. I'm really going to focus on talking in terms of facts instead of perceptions. But we just get on the bike, we fall off, we get back on the bike, we fall off. And before you guys know it, in a few months to a year, you'll be able to have powerful conversations where you would be normally like this, and it would just dissolve into like just a piss fest. But instead, it's like this powerful pool of meaning where you guys walk away more connected, with more understanding, with more wisdom, with more insight, where you feel heard, where they feel heard, where they contributed, where they didn't withhold, where the relationship was moved forward. So this isn't like, make sure you do this perfectly or else you're a naughty student at all. This is just like deep principles that help us reach here instead of dance here. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little while. So let's move to 4. If there's not any questions with 100% responsibility, I'm going to move into 4. So 4 is basically it's the stage where you're requesting co-creation. So often what can happen is like we vomit this stuff right here to the best of our ability. And I will say this, guys, it's better to be, like I said, the fuck you, I'm not responsible. It's better to be radically honest and actually start conversations. It's better to be standing in that place than to just be withholding your ball and being way over. Like that's a good thing. So keep that in mind. This is like, okay, just more tools to help us get over here. So, okay. So moving to step 4, positive. This is the co-creation stage. And often what happens is we vomit all this. And then at the end, like the person, even though they're loving and they're caring and everything, they're just kind of like, okay, what's next? All of this is unto co-creating what you are desiring, co-creating what you're wanting, creating what you're valuing. All of this is unto this like pool of meaning where you guys can create something epic together. So stage 4 is about that. It's positive and specific requests versus negative and general demands. So what do I mean by positive and specific requests instead of negative and general demands? So positive and specific requests, they're creative. They're not destruction. They are doing something for action instead of not doing something. Instead of destroying something, they're creating something. So this is the co-creative phase. So your requests are creative in nature. They're action-oriented in nature. They're doing specific do's. So they're not, I want you to stop. They're not, don't do this. They're not stop. They're not anything like that. They're about action. They're about doing, which completely changes the mindset in the dialogue. It puts people into a creative mode instead of a defensive mode. Because when you ask people to stop doing something, that's a lot different than when like, hey, let's create. So it's often like, and I don't know if you guys remember this example, but the difference in energy of like, oh, I should, or I need to, I should eat healthy today, or I need to work out today, or I shouldn't have that piece of cake, is completely different energy than I wonder how I can fill my body with amazing nutrients that fuel my success. I wonder how I can get my blood flowing powerfully today. Like wonder questions, creative questions, use a completely different part of your brain. So the doing, positive, creative, specific requests, they invite co-creation from the other person instead of shutting the other person down and saying, hey, you need to stop this. Hey, you need to do this. Like, I don't want you to do this. So it also, the specific is really important. The specific do's and making specific requests. Like, it's really easy to speak in generalities, but the truth is we all bring our own thoughts, feelings, opinions, and stuff to the pool, right? So when you say, hey, I would really like it if you're nice to me, like, what the fuck does that mean? Different people will have different perceptions on the meaning of nice. So being specific, it's like, hey, when we go out, I would love it if you open the door for me. That's like a specific positive request. It's an action, doing, it's specific, etc. So positive and specific requests instead of negative and general demands. So negative and general, negative is really the don'ts. It's really don't do this or stop doing this. So it's asking them to stop doing something. And general is abstract moralities. It's vague. It's like stop being unfair is a perfect example. You're like, hey, so what I would like you to do is stop being unfair. It's a negative. What does unfair even mean? It's not specific. It's vague. And it's just like that isn't a creative process, asking someone to stop being unfair. So the reverse would be more specific. So I'm going to make something up, but it would be like, I would love it. I would love it if you could count the number of candies you gave to the children tomorrow. So then there's something tangible. There's action steps to move forward. And it's positive moving. It's creation energy, which is a different part of the brain than like stopping energy. So, and then demands, and this is really key, but demands is, it's basically you're inviting them to either submit to the demand or you're inviting them to rebel from the demand. So they're either they're basically going to take their ball and say, yeah, they're going to withhold information and say yes and just do it and drop into this hero energy or this victim energy, or they're going to say, fuck you and rebel. Fuck you, I'm not going to open the door for you. So it's important that it's not a demand. And the signs of demand is if you're attached to the outcome. The sign of a demand is if you're going to guilt trip them, you're going to criticize them if they don't do it, if you're not giving them the gift of their own experience, if you're judging whatever they're contributing to the pool. So a request is really this idea where you're not attached. It's a request. You're looking, you're wanting to co-create with them, but if they don't want to co-create with you, it's not going to be the end of the world for you. Now, does that mean there can be results? Yes. Do you get to build boundaries? Yes. Do you get to like keep people in your life that you get to co-create with the way you want to co-create with, yes. But in the conversation, in this context, don't be attached to the outcome of the co-creation. Realize that co-creation is something where two people or more are contributing to a pool of meaning, and then some action results from that pool of meaning. And sometimes, depending on where different people are at, that action that results is going to be completely different than your initial request. So the goal here in the conversation isn't to make sure you get your request done. The goal in this step of the conversation isn't to turn this request into a demand and then guilt trip or criticize if they don't agree or whatever. The goal in this conversation is, after you express, then seek to understand and get them to contribute to the pool of meaning the same way that you did. And they're not going to say it consciously, but get them to share where they're coming from. And when you shared where you're coming from in a way that talks about the facts, in a way that talks about true feelings, that takes 100% responsibility, that invites them to do the exact same thing. That invites them to step into their 100% responsibility. That invites them, that shows them it's a safe place. It shows them that you're not looking to prove or defend them as bad. You're not looking to knock them down. You're not looking to attack them. Your deeper desire is to create a safe place where you can be fully seen and understood, and you then want to fully see and understand them. Because often, if your request, like I said, if it's a true request and they don't feel the pressure of it being a demand, then that request will change once you fully understand and see them and where they're coming from, because the pool has deepened. The pool of meaning has deepened. You've gotten wiser. You've understood things that you didn't understand before. They've gotten wiser. They've understand things that they didn't understand before. And now suddenly there's this place where you can co-create something epic that's a win-win, where you win and they win. And that's where relationships deepen. And that's where living here outside of drama is fucking epic. So making the request it's not the stage. Like, the request stage isn't the stage of like, okay, here's the law. Here's my demands. It's like you're offering to the pool of what could happen. And then your main thing is seeking to understand their experience, what's going on for them. And then once that's understood, then it's the point of co-creation. And it's powerful once they feel the safety to express and they choose to do that. It's powerful because, like I said, once there's a shared pool of meaning, that co-creation, everyone's committed to it. What often happens in codependent relationships is someone will talk over this person and they'll agree, but they don't really agree. So then they're not actually committed to the result. And then the conversation happens again and again and again. But when there's a co-creation where each person expressed and contributed to the pool of meaning, then the result, whatever is created out of that pool of meaning, it's a shared interest. You have interest in it because it includes you and your request. They have interest in it because it includes them and their requests. And then you're both committed to it because it's an expression, a creation of both of you. It's not just a creation of one of you. Does that make sense? Cool. So
Like the best sales training ever.
Dude, I know. I was actually going to say that to you and I totally forgot. So love it. Cool. So any questions so far about the request stage?
No, I'm over here taking notes like crazy, and I feel like I'm just, I keep reminding myself, like I take a breath and I just keep reminding myself, okay, it's being recorded. I can come back to this. Anyhow.
Awesome. And this isn't like a pass-fail test or anything. This is just...
I'm just noticing that I feel overwhelmed because I'm putting pressure on myself to get it all right now.
Love it.
How's that? That was good, right?
That's amazing. Holy shit. Look at you go.
You didn't teach this old dog some new tricks.
Young dog.
All right. You guys want to go through some examples of requests?
I actually would appreciate that.
Okay. So example number 1, I want you to understand me. So is that positive specific or negative in general?
General, for sure.
Yeah, general.
Awesome. I'd like you to tell me one thing that I did that you appreciate.
That's
positive and specific.
Awesome. I want you to stop drinking.
Ooh.
drinking what?
That's general.
It's general and it's negative because it's a don't.
Yeah.
Stop. I would like you to let me be.
General.
I would like you to be honest with me about yesterday's meeting.
That's specific, yeah.
Awesome.
That's general. I had like 3 meetings yesterday.
Incorrigible.
I'd like you to prepare supper more often.
It's pretty general.
That's general.
Yeah. So another one could be, I would like you to prepare supper on Tuesday and Thursday evenings. That brings the specific.
Chicken or steak?
I'd like you to prepare chicken on Tuesdays and steak on Thursdays. No.
Medium rare?
I would like you to drive at or below the speed limit.
That's specific.
Yeah. Unless, I don't know. I can always find some way to make it general. Because that's what I've mastered all my life.
This
Awesome.
one's a good one for me, Jonathan. Actually, can we pause here for a second?
Like pause the recording?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so this traffic one is actually really, this is like an exact scenario. So I would really like to go over an exact scenario.
Let's do it.
Okay. So I'm not even going to try and be conscious with my talk because it's just
Perfect.
okay. So the thing that happens is that Eric passes on blind corners a lot, or, anyway, he drives in a way that I feel unsafe. And I've expressed this to him many times. The last time that it happened, I expressed my anger, and he said, well, that's my choice. I did it. I chose to do it. And I was like, yeah, you did. And so then I had him pull over, and I got out of the car because I was like, well, if you're going to choose to drive with me, I'm going to choose not to drive with you.
Love it.
So a conscious conversation around this would be nice. Having a request that he doesn't feel like he's being ultimatumed. That's not a word, but I just made it up.
I love it. So, yeah, so quick, the facts that he went around a corner at 65 mile an hour and the speed limit was 35 mile an hour, or he passed around a corner where you couldn't see if a car was coming, right? And then your true feelings where you were terrified. So 100% responsibility. I felt scared because I imagined a semi-truck hitting us and you dying. Or I imagined a semi-truck hitting us and me dying, or a car being totaled, and then positive and specific request. I would like you to drive to not pass. So that's not right. I'd like you to stay in your lane around blind quarters. and then you open yourself, and you get curious about what his perceptions are about what's going on.
Okay. Every time it happens, there's a little bit more like I have expressed instead of just being like, you motherfucker, like where it started. Just like this.
So one thing I would also say about like stuff that you know is an issue, like in the moment, it's fucking hard to talk about it. It really is. And so I would talk about this outside of the moment. I would like tonight or tomorrow, I would like go through and kind of get this like kind of, okay, cool. Here's what's going on. Here's what I want to communicate. And then throw it out there and see what happens.
That's a good idea.
So then there's not as much emotional charge in it. And you could even bring it down to, you know, positive and specific, like it really honors me, or it would really honor me, or it would really show me love, or I would feel loved if this and this and this. If you stayed in your lane around blind corners when I was in the car.
That's a great idea. I like the idea. I like having this conversation when I'm not heated, or any conversation, because when I can practice it being calm and in a space where I'm not even angry about it and can use these tools, then then I may get better at using them in the moment too.
Yeah, that's actually a huge piece. So I want to like hit that home. I like sometimes Chloe and I go at it in the moment, and it's really good because we learn radical honesty, and if both of us are communicating and we're, you know, then it's great. But like crucial conversations, it's totally okay to take space and come back. Like even if like Amanda, like if like you have one coming up potentially, so if it's going south and you're like, then it's okay to be like, you know what, I don't feel like I'm communicating in the way that I would most like to communicate, that respects you and respects me. Can we have this conversation tomorrow? Or like, it's okay to create some space. And it's almost always, I shouldn't say always, but often it's more powerful to do that and be intentional about the conversation, which is really scary because most people, when they're intentional about most couples, when they're intentional about conversation, or friends or whatever, it's like, oh, there's this big thing. There's this elephant in the room until it happens. But the more you're comfortable with like, yeah, we have something to talk about and we want to talk about it in a powerful way, and it becomes less and less weird. You're like, hey, you know, I want to cover this thing tonight. And it actually becomes a lot of fun because it brings, at the end of a powerful conversation, it actually brings intimacy closer together, and co-creation will increase, and you guys will feel epic.
Awesome.
Sweet. So that's really all I had. 90 minutes of so let's jump. So Amanda, how can we best support you for tonight?
So can I give you like this scenario and then have you help me talk through it, right? Because like I hear what you're saying and then I'm trying to apply it like in what I want to discuss.
Awesome.
Does that make sense? Like, are you guys open to that?
I'm down.
Okay. So scenario goes like this. Justin and I had a conversation about 2 weeks ago regarding his parents being around the girls. Although I made an agreement with him that I wouldn't leave he has requested some time to work through some emotion towards his parents. And he doesn't want the girls around. He didn't want the girls around them at all. And I told him that I wasn't, like, that didn't feel okay to me. But that I could respect that he would like some time, and that he said that he felt scared our girls being with his parents. And so we made an agreement that I would give him some time to work through some of his emotion. I wouldn't leave the girls with his parents, but that if I chose to go to his parents and take the girls with me, then like what I do when they're with me is my business, and I get to be responsible for our girls and take care of them that way. However, I would not leave them for the time being. So I've given him some time. He called his dad. He told me, and he told me that the phone call blew up. His dad told me that the phone call blew up and it was just bad, and they ended up hanging up on each other. And that's kind of how that ended. And there hasn't been a whole lot of discussion about it since. Now, his mom, I guess it's his stepmom, messaged me today and said, I would love to figure out a time when the girls can come over and have a craft day with me. She does craft days with them, has done them in the past. And part of the conversation was that when I told Justin, I said that this is something that like is a temporary thing for me. Like, I'm not saying this is how it's indefinitely going to be, that the girls won't see them and that I won't leave them. They have been people who have been very supportive of me and watched the girls a lot. And so I feel like the girls are out of school. I haven't been able to figure out childcare for me to be able to focus fully on work. Here's an opportunity for the girls to go and be watched so that I could have a full day of work. And I'm feeling apprehensive about texting him because I know that things based on what they said blew up. But I want the girls to be able to go and have a craft day. I want to revisit our agreement. And I feel afraid that he's going to say no and I'm going to be stuck in an agreement that I don't want to be stuck in anymore. And so
You feel afraid? Yep.
I don't even know how to start the conversation with him. And I haven't heard from him for like 2 weeks. He hasn't, the girls have tried to call and he hasn't answered. They've texted him and he hasn't answered. I've texted him and it's been very like, I'll get back to you. I don't know.
So my understanding is that the agreement was kind of like a temporary agreement?
Yes.
Okay. So, anything else?
So I recognize that I'm in my own perceptions. Like, I said I would give him time to work through emotions with his parents. We didn't set a time frame on it of what that time would be.
So so specifically, you have fulfilled your agreement.
I have fulfilled my agreement. In my opinion, is that I've given him 2 weeks. But that's my opinion, was that.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense? And so.
Yeah.
He could come back and say, you only gave me 2 weeks.
Yeah. This is not saying you did anything wrong or anything. This is just a perfect example of specific requests.
Yeah. I now don't know how to go back and I'm.
So what is the real challenge for you here?
The real challenge is that I'm back at you see that triangle, that feeling responsible for his emotions, feeling responsible for pissing him off, that I want the girls to go and spend a craft day with their grandma.
Awesome.
And he hates them and doesn't like them and doesn't want the girls to be with them and all of that.
So what you want is to have a powerful.
I'm responsible.
You're feeling responsible. So you want to stop feeling that responsibility.
Yes.
Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. And you want to have a conversation where you express what's going on and you maybe co-create a different agreement.
Yes.
And you have a fear that he will withhold and he'll get pissed off and he'll take his ball and run and not co-create.
Yes. and then I will be stuck in an agreement that I don't want to be stuck in anymore.
So are you actually stuck in an agreement?
I feel like I'm in this agreement until we make a new agreement.
Okay. Even though the agreement was general.
Yeah.
So if he refuses to text you back, do you feel that you're stuck in an agreement that
Yes.
you've fulfilled?
I feel like I have fulfilled.
But you're not sure if you're taking responsibility. Does he feel like you've fulfilled?
That I feel like he feels that I fulfilled. And if I were to say, okay, girls are going, like you didn't text me back, girls are going, I feel like I would be out of integrity because he and I didn't renegotiate. And I feel like that if that happened to me, then I would be upset.
And part of renegotiating is he shows up to renegotiate, right?
Yes.
Cool. And if he shows up to renegotiate and he's not wanting to renegotiate per se, do you still feel like you're stuck in an agreement?
Yes, I do.
Even though the agreement was open-ended?
Son of a bitch, I should have just been more specific.
So, well, if it was a year down the road, would you feel like you were stuck in an agreement?
I don't know. Because I feel like, Brandon, stop smirking at me.
Breathe, we love you. This is just perfect feedback. It's not right, it's not wrong.
Right.
And you got this. And we're still talking.
Right. I guess I just have this belief that I'm in an agreement until I verbally renegotiate with that person and we come to a new agreement.
So what if we tried on the belief you're in an agreement until you do your best? Because who's responsible for verbally negotiation takes two parties, right?
Right?
And if one party doesn't show up, then you're a victim.
Right. Shit.
So you're in agreement until you do the best that you know how to renegotiate the agreement and recreate the agreement. So maybe he does ignore you, or maybe he shows up and he listens to you and he gets pissed off and he says, oh, you broke our agreement, which isn't true because the agreement was open-ended. Do you agree with that?
It triggers me.
So if we look at the
So
past,
I didn't intentionally mean to make it an open-ended agreement. In the past, when I've watched him do business, he's intentionally done, this is my perception, I get it, like it's my own shit. He intentionally would leave it open-ended. And then right after he would do that, he would talk to me about the reasons why he would do that. So that if it worked out in different situations, like if it went this path, then he would have this rebuttal. And if it went that way, then it was that rebuttal, right?
Yep.
And so he would leave it open-ended so that it could be skewed in whatever way he wanted it to benefit him. And so I am triggered by the fact that I am in an agreement that is open-ended, and I don't want to do that to him, even though he irritates the hell out of me.
Love it.
And right now I don't like him.
So you judge the hell out of him for having open-ended agreements in the past, and so now you're pissed because you have an open-ended agreement and you think you're going to do something to him. You think he's a victim because you thought you were a victim in the past. And the truth is, he has plenty of room to have a conversation and come up and co-create something new. And the facts is that you didn't say how long, and he didn't say how long.
Right.
I was just about to say that, Jonathan. If it's an open-ended agreement for Amanda, it's also an open-ended agreement for Justin.
Yep. So part of this communication could be you don't want an open-ended agreement anymore. That could be part of the communication. Part of the communication is the facts are they're out of school. I have work. You haven't texted them in 2 weeks. You know, all that other stuff. Your parents, they were with your parents and had fun with your parents for
2 years.
2 years, 3 times a week. So keep it facts, not perceptions. And I'm feeling, your true feelings. I'm feeling sad. I see sadness. I'm feeling pissed. Because I am telling the story that I can't do the work that I want to do. And that we're destroying a key relationship with your mother and my daughters. So there's probably 2 things to communicate. I would run through this with the open-ended agreement, and I'd run through this with you wanting, because what I'm understanding is that you want your daughters to be there for craft day.
Yes.
And there's potential. A deeper question is, do you want this agreement to go away for good? Do you want to just go away for this craft day? Would maybe get clear, because you're going to want to have positive and specific requests. And so the specific requests could be, on the agreement side of things, I want you to agree to allowing them for this craft day, and then agree to a 2-week agreement on this conversation before we come back to it. So then maybe you do the craft day, and then there's 2 more weeks, and then you come back to the conversation to see what else you can co-create.
Okay.
Or something along those lines. So to summarize, I'd go through this and communicate the agreement side, and I'd go through this, maybe take the agreement part through here and the girls going over through this part, and then have a positive and specific request that addresses both of those. And then the key piece, he's going to have a ton of shit. He might have stuff that you don't even know. Maybe he knows stuff about his dad that you don't know about. Maybe it's all blame. Maybe it's all these stories. Maybe it's, whatever it is. The key thing here is seek to understand and get his contribution into the pool. Ask him what's, ask him to share, and he's not gonna share consciously, but get curious, really discover what is he feeling and what is he desiring and valuing. And dig, ask why questions. Well, my parents are just jerks, and I don't think the kids are safe. Why don't you think they're safe? Why? What are you feeling? Are you feeling scared? Yeah, I'm scared that this is going to happen. What are you valuing? Well, I'm valuing their safety. Why are you valuing their, how do you feel like they won't be safe? The more you can get him to open up and express, this pool might change. Your requests might change, and they might not. And then he can either say, okay, let's do it, or he's going to say, no, let's not. And then at that point, you have another decision to make. Is that helpful?
Yes, it's helpful. Right now, it feels scary. It feels like a lot to I feel like I'm putting pressure on myself to do it right. And I feel that if I don't do it right, then I'm going to cause hurt that's going to come back on me and make my life even a bigger mess. Like,
I think the real key, like the deepest thing here, and I want to see if you like, what do you think the deepest challenge here is for you?
I don't know if this is it, but this is what I'm like. This is what's coming to mind is like honoring me and standing my ground, even when he knows things about me that he can use to hurt me. My fear is that when I stand up and like say, this is what I would like, this is what I would like to create, that he's going to say no, because I don't like my dad and I don't like my mom and I'm mad at them and no, so no. And then when I say like that doesn't feel good to me and this feels good to me, he says my answer is still no. And if you choose to move ahead and go forward with it, I'll bring legal action against you.
So you have some fear of being controlled and manipulated.
Yes.
So I wish there was like the clean, pretty answer. I would say your best chance is really getting this to a point where he's sharing and not withholding. Because just a pure no, where he's not sharing in the pool, is a shallow pool. Beyond that, it can come down to a value hierarchy.
What do you mean by a value hierarchy?
Like you basically roll out scenarios, like you have the conversation, but then you roll out the scenarios and you say, okay, do I value this or this more? And make decisions based on that. Like I'm obviously not a lawyer. I can't give any legal advice.
Right.
I don't know the scenario or the situation or anything like that. I don't know how he, and if he's holding stuff or is threatening to hold stuff over you. And maybe that's a whole other conversation. But if that's the root of the fear and that's keeping you in here, then really exploring, his values behind what he's wanting, where he feels heard and where there's a co-creation going on, is key. And then outside of that, like when the truth is you are always in control, you are always making decisions. And when we look at and we examine what we think may be happening as a result of different choices, it adjusts our choices. And so getting clear and saying, okay, what is my deeper values here? And what do I want to create? And it might be worth posting about this in more detail in the Purge and getting other coaches' feedback as well.
Okay.
Thank you. Worst case scenario, they don't go for craft day.
Right.
And you get to feel the sadness and you get to feel like you're being controlled and you get to feel through all of that. And you get to increase the skills and you get to increase the conversations and the communication. So what's at stake here isn't like I have to do this perfectly. What's at stake is, are they there for craft day? Take it one step at a time.
Awesome.
Love you.
I love you too. Thank you.
Anyone else have some stuff that they want to run through as it relates to anything? It could be a radically honest conversation, sweaty palm conversation. It could be something else, completely different topic. Any feedback, any thoughts? If anyone have any feedback or thoughts for Amanda? Besides massive hugs. Awesome. Is there any thread? Did anyone comment on the thread in Facebook about going through anything?
I don't think so. Let's see.
Nope, doesn't look like it.
Jonathan, this is going to be of massive value. I find, like you were saying, in the situation, it's so hard to not be in the drama triangle.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard to not react, and it's so hard to communicate effectively what needs to be communicated. And I think this is really going to be a learning process. But holy fuck, dude. It's epic.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
It's epic.
It's been so helpful for us, for sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I will take a picture and potentially type up some notes. This is just context for this. So if you can just remember facts, feelings, responsibility, positive and specific, it's not as overwhelming and as tough as we may think. I gave a lot of context and scenarios and the meaning behind the meaning, but at the end of the day, facts, feelings, responsibility, and positive and specific requests.
I think I'm going to make a video. I make it so hard. This is so hard.
Yeah, where's that Personas video?
I'm like, oh, I could do a persona on that. Oh, I could do it on that. Oh, I could do it on that. I make doing the persona video so hard. Making the choice is hard.
I will say it's part of my strength and my weakness. Like, I kind of deep dive on stuff, and build it all out a lot more, and it brings a lot of value, and it's can definitely contribute to the information trap more than just like, hey, let's talk about facts versus perception for an hour.
It's awesome. Jonathan, I am super appreciating this call, like, a lot. I also feel like I get to go back and just watch it over again. Actually, what I feel like is I get to look at that, just like your bullet points right there, right? Like on the screen. And I just get to look at those and be like, okay, there's only 4 or 5 things I need to remember. And I have them all written down right here.
Wouldn't that be cool if they made a phone that can copy and paste writing? That's written
Oh
on
my goodness. That'd be awesome.
It like text the words.
There's an app that like can make it PDF, I guess.
Nice.
Which means
I have that app.
you probably couldn't.
If you want to send the image to me, I can turn it into a PDF for you and post it.
Oh, it's cool. I'm just posting the image in Purge.
Awesome.
In the purge.
The purge.
Awesome. All right, guys. If you're all good, then
Eliza says she's coming back, so let's wait till she comes back. And as soon as she logs in, we all log out.
I'm down.
I
I'll tell
don't
you
know,
that.
but she wasn't specific with her agreement. It was an open-ended agreement. We could be waiting like 2 weeks.
A few minutes could be. Or it could be 2 minutes.
You guys are awesome. You guys rock.
That totally ties into the whole expectations are poison now. General requests are more like expectations.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I guess it was specific. She said a few minutes. That's specifically 3, right? I think it's been 3 minutes, though. She broke the agreement.
A few is a handful. She comes back and she hears us talking about her. She's gonna flip her shit.
I love when she flips her shit.
Eliza, if you're
Let's keep doing it.
watching the replay, please flip your shit in the and tag us all in it.
And then Brandon's gonna police your post. And
I'm gonna look on your timeline. Going 2009.
Oh, it's horrible.
Oh, jeez.
so awesome.
I'm gonna stop the
So
recording.